Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am so incredibly excited to guide you through this session today, because we're looking at something that affects literally every single one of us. Today, we're exploring a timeless, profound narrative called The Value of Time. It perfectly illustrates the hidden cost of laziness and the fleeting nature of opportunity. Whether you're a student, a professional, or just someone trying to squeeze a bit more out of your day, the insights we're about to unpack are going to be absolutely crucial. So get comfortable, lock in, and let's unravel this brilliant story together.
Okay, let's dive right into this and start with a super simple question. Do you also put off your important work for tomorrow? Be honest with yourself here. How often do you catch yourself saying, "Oh, I'll just do it later," or there's plenty of time? Procrastination is such a universal struggle. We have all been there, pushing our goals just a little bit further down the road. Keep that personal reflection in mind because it's exactly the mindset that the protagonist of our first source narrative struggles with.
Which brings us to Section 1, Gaurav's Problem. So we're introduced to this young man named Gaurav, and he really had one defining characteristic. He was incredibly lazy. He was constantly brushing off his family's warnings about wasting time, always believing he just had this endless supply of tomorrows.
Well, when Gaurav moved to the big city to study, his habits didn't just magically improve. Actually, instead of focusing, he spent basically his entire day hanging out with friends and endlessly scrolling through reels. Sound familiar? Meanwhile, his friends were managing their time effectively and steadily getting ahead in their studies. This sharp contrast is just so relatable today, right? We live in a world literally overflowing with modern distractions, and it is incredibly easy to fall into that exact same trap of scrolling away our potential while the rest of the world just keeps moving forward.
But eventually, reality caught up with Gaurav. He reached a total breaking point, confessing, "I am failing in life. Tell me how I can do this." Every time he looked around, his friends were succeeding, and he was just being left in the dust. Frustrated and honestly desperate, Gaurav decided to seek guidance. He approached an elderly, highly respected, and wise man in his town who he found meditating peacefully under a tree. Gaurav laid his failures bare and begged the old man to teach him how to get back on track and become better than the rest.
The wise old man instantly diagnosed his problem. It was a complete failure to respect time. To teach him a lesson, the wise man told him a story, bringing us to Section 2, The King's Offer. This tale is about a generous king who met an incredibly poor, lazy man who always blamed everyone else for his circumstances.
Feeling sorry for him, the king decided to make a deal. Now, what's really incredible about this offer is the sheer, mind-blowing magnitude of it. The king told him, "Come to the palace before sunset and take as much gold and silver as you can carry." Just imagine that for a second. This is the ultimate life-changing opportunity. It's basically a blank check. The poor man was absolutely overjoyed. He thanked the king, ran all the way home, and told his wife the incredible news. His wife, who clearly understood the urgency here, immediately urged him to go right away and claim their fortune.
But as we move into Section 3, the wasted time, we see how the poor man actually reacted to the greatest opportunity of his entire life. You'd think he'd sprint as fast as humanly possible, right? Well, let's see what happens.
Despite his wife literally begging him to hurry, the poor man's response was just absurd. He simply said, "I cannot go right now, I am hungry." No way, right? He actually demanded that his wife make him food first. And he didn't even eat quickly. No, he ate slowly, comfortably trapped in this completely false belief that he had plenty of time. He figured he'd just go grab the literal treasure after he finished his nice, leisurely meal. 6. That is the total number of hours of pure, golden opportunity that this man slept away. After eating that heavy meal, he felt a bit drowsy, He thought, "I'll just take a quick nap." Well, that quick nap turned into 2 full hours. When he finally woke up and started heading toward the palace, the afternoon sun was blazing hot. So what did he do? He decided to rest under a tree for a minute. A cool breeze was blowing and, you guessed it, he fell asleep again. This time for 4 solid hours. 6 hours totally squandered, while a fortune was literally just sitting there waiting for him. Just look at the anatomy of this disastrous day. We start in the morning with the king's life-changing offer. By midday, instead of acting, he's eating and resting. Add 2 hours of sleep at home, then add 4 more hours of sleep under a tree. You could almost hear the clock ticking loudly through this timeline. By the time he finally woke up from his second nap, the sun was already dipping below the horizon. He grabbed his bags and sprinted toward the royal court. But he was too late. Sunset had arrived, and those heavy palace doors were firmly closed. The poor man was left entirely devastated. So the absolutely crucial point here is this.
He lost the chance to become rich simply because he didn't understand the value of time. He remained poor not because society was against him, not because employers hated him, and definitely not because of bad luck. He remained in poverty entirely due to his own failure to recognize that a window of opportunity is strictly bound by time. Once the sun sets on that opportunity, no amount of crying or regret is going to open those doors again.
And that brings us to Section 4, the value of time. The wise old man finished his story, leaving Gaurav completely speechless. Listening to the tragic foolishness of the poor man served as a perfect, undeniable mirror for his own mistakes.
And this brilliantly illustrates the rapid turnaround Gaurav made. Step 1. Realization. He thanked the wise man and went home a totally changed person. Step 2. Working on his goals. From that exact day, he entirely abandoned his habit of procrastinating and became highly productive. Which leads right into Step 3. Becoming a brilliant student. Within just a few days of intense focus, he surged past all those friends he used to envy, ultimately becoming the most promising, successful student in his college. A real game changer. So, what should we really take away from this explainer today? Let's look at the core teachings drawn directly from both Gaurav's life and the wise man's story. First off, time is the most valuable asset you possess, way more valuable than gold or silver. Second, wasting it on meaningless things brings only regret. There is zero positive return on squandered time. Third, you absolutely must seize opportunities at the right time, not just when it happens to be convenient for you. And finally, the ultimate truth. Lost time never returns. You just can't buy it back. I want to leave you with this final, vital question. When is your sunset? We all have a palace filled with opportunities waiting for us, but those doors aren't going to stay open forever. The clock is always ticking on your goals, your relationships, and your potential. Are you going to keep resting under the tree, eating slowly and scrolling through distractions? Or are you going to grab your bags and run towards your goals before the doors close? Stop putting off your important work for tomorrow. Take action today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to make the absolute most of the time you have right now.